I think pretty much everyone that's coming is coming, and bit of housekeeping. We are recording it. It will be published online. If anyone doesn't want to be recorded or shown online, please let me know. We can do our best to either edit it out or similar. And you can always keep your camera off if you're shy. And we'd ask everyone to stay on mute unless you're talking. And we're going to be fairly quick and keeps time. We've just discussed this is going to be for an hour till 8. And there are quite a lot of people on the call, which I'm delighted to see. So just to introduce this call, this is the sort of kick-off meeting for Wendover and Village's Community Climate Action Planning, where we're going to come together and write a Community Climate Action Plan for the villages and parishes of Stoke Mandeville, Weston Turville, Holton and Wendover in particular. Although it's not exclusive, those are the participatory parishes, but anyone else can join. Come along, see what we're doing, learn and participate, with the intention of broadening this activity to other communities. So we've got very similar going on right throughout East Anglia, right down to the south coast of England, and we've got Bromsgrove Community Climate Action, CIC, just incorporated up near Birmingham. I am going to ask or offer a quick go around, just a quick introduction, your name, perhaps your interest, maybe what you do, but we'll try and keep it super brief, 10 to 20 seconds each kind of thing, so we don't take up too much of the time. And I'm also going to ask for your help, because I might not recognize that everybody's spoken. So when you finish, please do pass it on, and anyone can start. Do you want to kick off, Rachel?
You're muted, Rachel.
There we go. Yes, I'd love to kick off. So yes, I'm Rachel, and I'm just reading an apology from Justine. Sorry, I can't. Too late to promote the meeting tonight. Yeah, I'm not quite. There's a few messages. Hi both. Sorry. Yes, a few sorries for the people who I think had booked and can't come. Yep. So sorry. What were the questions, Jules?
That's okay. A very quick introduction of yourself and where you're from and what you're interested, or why you're here. But we're
Okay.
trying to limit it to around 10 seconds, really. So very quick, great fire.
Yeah, lovely. So Rachel Blackmore, concerned about the climate environment, delighted to meet Jules and hoping to get on and with as a team and do something about it.
Fab. And then if you could choose someone to pass it on to.
Over to Mayuko.
Hi everyone, I'm Mayuko. I'm a member of Climate Action Wendover. I'm Francis, would you like to introduce next?
Thank you, Mayuka. Thank you very much. I'm Francis. I'm on the Wendover Parish Council. I'm also part of a small sustainability working group on the Parish Council, but hopefully growing. And we are looking to do more in Wendover, which so far has really been all the efforts thanks to CLAW. The Climate Action Wendover, they've done everything in Wendover with, I think, very, very little support from the Parish Council. So we're hoping to change that. Sorry if that was a bit too long, Jules. Oh, who do I hand over to? Simon.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Simon McAvoy. I live in Weston Turville, and I am the head of content for the product and engineering side of a security software company called Sneak. And who I'll hand over to Ian.
Thanks, Simon. Ian Sansbury. I recognise there are a few familiar faces on this call. I'm from Wendover. I am a licensed lay minister at St Mary's Church in Wendover, and in my day job at the moment, I lead a mental health charity that's focused on getting people out into nature. So yeah, lots of interest in what we're doing here. Thank you. And I will hand over to Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm Climate Action Wendover Secretary, Trustee, one of the founder members, and I'll hand over to Joy.
Hi, so I'm Joy and I live in Stoke Mandeville, and my interest in this is I'm chair of Good Food Bucks and I'm a trustee for social farms and gardens, and I'm also the ex-director of the Oxford Climate Alumni Network, and I will hand over to Ben.
Evening all. Hi, I'm Ben Brownlee, member of Climate Action Western Turville, with Rachel, David and others. About the last 3 years, particular interest in transport, electric vehicles, that kind of thing. I'll pass on to Sarah Feeney.
Yeah, I'm on Beardson Parish Council. We're not one of the councils that have contributed financially to the workshop, but I'm hoping to come along with another parish councillor to kind of learn more and maybe encourage some financial contribution in the future. So clearly, like everybody else, I'm obviously very interested. So I'll hand over to Alan.
Oh, unfortunately, we can't hear you, Alan. Is that the same for everyone else?
Yeah.
No.
Shall I hand over to somebody else then?
Yes, we'll come back to Alan.
Yeah, Liz.
Hi, hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yes.
Right, okay. Hello everyone, I'm current chair of Stoke Mandeville Village Society. We are currently quite excited about a little project we've got going with Tame Conservation Trust to look after Stoke Brook. So that's what we're currently interested in, apart from many other things. And I'll hand to, I don't know, I can't remember who's not spoken now. Maddie?
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a climate scientist and a face painter, and I know Joolz through Glastonbury Festival, and basically I'm helping him to contact schools to get as many schools engaged into your community climate action planning. And it's really loud here because I'm in Bristol at the moment, but yeah. And I will hand over to maybe Justine hasn't been, or Julie. Justine, you're up.
Hello, hi. I'm Justine Hamer. I work with Rob and Rachel and David and Mayuko on Climate Action Wendover. I was one of the founding people for that as well. So do a variety of different community engagement and environmental programs locally. Let me think who to hand over to. Martin Baxter. Hi, Martin. Martin and Helen, can you hear us? Don't know whether they can hear us.
There we are.
There we are.
I'm Martin from Western Turville, relatively new member of the community. I've always been involved in community activities wherever I've lived, and that's what I want to contribute to this group.
Hi, and just say I'm Helen, and like Martin, keen to contribute, know very little. And hand over to you. Oh, Sarah Copley.
Oh, I think Sarah put in the chat. She's the clerk at Western Turville Parish Council. Don't know if her mic's working. So hands up if you haven't introduced yourself yet. I know. Oh, David.
Yeah, so I'm David Blackmore, and a member of Climate Action Western Turville, and I'm the chair of Climate Action Wendover, and I'm really excited to see these different communities coming together because I think it will increase our capabilities really to do something in a sort of integrated way. Robert, do I pass up to you?
Yes, hello there. Great to see everyone. I actually live in Amersham. I met Rachel recently, and then Joolz. We're part of Sustainable Amersham and Wild Amersham, the biodiversity group. We're looking to do something similar. So Rachel kindly invited me to come along to these, just so that I can get a bit of more of a sense of where we're going with it. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, shall I come in?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Ian Hanson. Hello. Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you, Ian.
You can hear me, yeah. Yes, well, I belong to a lot of wildlife conservation groups in the locality. Belt Wildlife Trust, Chiltern Society, and various sundry other little groups that have started up. And, happy to contribute in whatever way I can. A lot of the groups, they have, particular loyalty to their particular little area and what they're doing. And how exactly we liaise with the different existing groups and how we attract new members who aren't a member of any particular group. And those who, need educating about, wildlife and rewilding and all the rest of it, is difficult.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Ian. Do you want to maybe pick someone to pass it on to who hasn't been yet? Do you want to try again, Alan? I'm not sure if your microphone's working.
Is it? Can you hear me?
Yay!
Fantastic. Hello, everyone. This sounds like a really exciting project. My name's Alan. I'm from Haddenham, so outside the area. I'm a parish councillor, chair of the Climate Emergency Committee, and also a trustee of Zero Carbon Haddenham. So obviously a big interest in climate stuff. And I could hand over to Liz. Have you been yet?
I have.
Sorry.
Julie Lloyd-Evans hasn't been, have you, Julie?
Can you hear us, Julie? We can't hear or see you, unfortunately. So there we go. Now we can see you.
But you
Yeah.
can't hear. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. There was some connection with my camera and that. So I've had connections with Climate Action Wendover when I was a parish councillor for Wendover. And I'm a teacher of outdoor learning and sustainability, currently working also within Buckinghamshire Council to promote outdoor learning and sustainability to schools, particular interest in food growing in schools.
Fantastic. Hugo says his microphone's not working, but he's Hugo from Holton Parish Council. That's fantastic. And I think that's pretty much everybody apart from those that maybe have their camera or microphone off. So do shout now if you want to introduce yourself. Otherwise, we'll crack on. Please, if you do want to introduce yourself, just interrupt me. I'm Joolz. I'm a parish councillor as well in Hopton cum Netshall in Suffolk in East Anglia. And that's where we started community climate action planning where we were. And we did it for our 3 parishes, funded by the National Lottery. And they funded it because it was replicable, scalable, and leaves a legacy. And I'm going to just do a little bit of a presentation for you. And then show a very short video about some work we're doing in Essex as well, so you can just get a flavour for the day. And what we're looking for from this meeting is just to tee everyone up so you understand the process, have an opportunity to ask questions, but most importantly, see who wants to get involved, because it will take all of us. There's quite a lot to do. This is community climate action planning, and we're really interested in those that might have some capacity to help grow it in the community and invite people to the next meeting. So we've got what have we got? 4, 8, 12. So we've got 17 people on this call. That's a pretty good start. So exponential growth, friend get a friend, all to get one person, then we'd have the workshop pretty much filled. So I'm going to do a little presentation about community climate action planning. So bear with me a moment while I just share my screen. That's community climate action. So with community climate action, we take an holistic approach on food, energy, transport, housing, and biodiversity. And it's based on the premise that that the government isn't coming to save us, or nobody's coming to save us anytime soon, and the incumbent government might be a little bit better. And oh, I'm sorry.
Jules, am I the only one that can't see a presentation on my screen?
Oh, I don't know.
see
Can
it
anyone
either.
else?
I can't see anything
It's
either.
No,
What
nothing
it
yet.
says is Jules, Community Climate Action has started screen sharing.
still
Yeah.
buffering, I
Oh.
think.
Yeah, that's all I can see.
Suffolk Wi-Fi.
Bear with me a moment while I try and stop it. My Zoom seems to have frozen a bit, but so
Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we are.
oh,
No,
no. So bear with me a moment. I'm going to close a couple of things and try again. I'm glad you mentioned Maddie. So,
I saw a glimpse of it just then, and then it disappeared.
yeah, that should work. Is that working?
Here we go.
Great. It's based on the premise that nobody's going to come and save us, so we need to take care of people on the planet into our own hands. And you'll be pleased to hear that 80% of people don't think the government's doing enough. And these are YouGov survey results. And 60% of people want to take action but don't know what to do. And as with mutual aid in COVID, what we learned is we're stronger together, and collective action is much more powerful than individual action. So these slides are for some work we did with Essex County Council. So they tend to focus on energy, hence the community renewable energy. But the work we'll be doing in Wendover and Villages is on all 5 themes and pillars. And you'll have all heard about the melting ice caps and the glaciers, and that we'll likely have a blue ocean event in our lifetime. Which is really scary because that amount of white ice reflects the heat of the sun back into the atmosphere and away from the poles. So when it's gone, it's a tipping point really, and we'll have increased ocean acidification, flooding. We know that we've currently got, I think it's about 417 parts per million CO2 in the atmosphere. Safety is about 350, and we've got a whole lot locked in. We're experiencing drought this year, the worst drought in 150 years. We've certainly where I am, our parish is one of the top things on any agenda is what are we going to do about the flooding? And that's prevalent across the country. And I'm sure you've seen in the news recently the terrible floods in Texas and New York and Turkey, Pakistan and elsewhere in the world. And we're suffering wildfires. So we've already had, by spring this year, record-breaking number of wildfires in our communities. And 70% of climate scientists expect a rise of at least 2.5 degrees. We're smashing through the 1.5 degrees upper limit set in the Paris Agreement. And just want to remind those that may not know, 1.5 degrees is the safe upper limit for human existence. It's not a target. And we're smashing through it. And last year was the hottest year for 125,000 years. And was the first year above 1.5 degrees. So we've got if we hit these kind of targets, it's pretty cataclysmic and will hit tipping points which don't bear thinking about really. Where we are right now, last year we had really wet weather and lots of floods, and our farmers were worried about harvest catastrophe. Their seeds were being washed away, their topsoil washed away onto roads. And that then increases the risk of food security or food insecurity. And we're threatened by extreme flooding. As an industry, our farming industry lost $1 billion last year to wet weather, and this year they're set to lose $1 billion due to drought. And the Office of National Statistics say that we lose about the damage to our economy currently is around 20 billion per annum from climate change. And of course, what does food insecurity look like? Well, I don't know if anyone remembers the great tomato shortage of 2023. But we had no tomatoes on our shelves, and that was predominantly because of drought in Morocco and Spain. Not that they didn't grow any tomatoes, but those that they did were sent to the EU first. And so we didn't have any on our shelves. So with our just-in-time supply system, if people can't grow vegetables, we suddenly have empty shelves. And this picture was taken when I went to the Centre for Alternative Technology in Wales, just ahead of Storm Babbitt in 2023. The roads were being closed from flooding just as I was going through. And one of the first things we wanted to do was go and buy some food for the week. And we got there, and this is just at the start of the week, and many of the shelves were empty because deliveries couldn't get through. So as part of the process of community climate action planning, we consider our emergency plans and the climate impacts of those: cool spaces, excess deaths from heat, excess pressure on our emergency services, this kind of thing. So one of the organisations we'd look to engage with during this process is your Resilience Forum. We've recently done a food resilience workshop in Worthing on the south coast, and that was funded by Sussex Resilience Forum. So we've got to start thinking about these things and where our food and our water comes from before we're hungry and thirsty. And United Nations have declared code red for humanity. I'm just going to pause a moment and let that sink in. Code red for humanity. But it's not all bad news, because we have the ability to act. We can do stuff about it. Right now, we can mitigate the cause of climate change, and we can adapt to the change that's here. And this is the journey that we're embarking on together. So a major US state achieved a critical milestone for a couple of weeks and powered themselves entirely by renewable energy. Now this news story is quite old. Actually, they powered themselves for well over a month, and that was California in America, who are the world's 4th largest economy. So if California can do it, we can definitely do it. Things like agrivoltaics allow us to improve our energy production while retaining productive use of the land for horticulture and agricultural use, growing food. So we don't need to sacrifice one for the other. And we've got a project in East Anglia, funded by the Community Energy Fund, for 50 acres of agrivoltaics and 3 wind turbines that will power 6,000 homes with an 11 megawatt project for generation. There's a new map in East Anglia that covers the UKPN area that shows thousands of sites suitable for new onshore wind. So that's part of the process. We'll be doing some learning by doing at the workshop or pre-workshop to identify suitable sites for community renewable energy. And actually, I'll take a moment just to play a video for you. So this is a video produced by Essex County Council about the workshops we've been doing in communities in Essex. So let me see if this works. So I'm hoping you'll be able to hear the sound. founded Community Climate Action because nobody's coming to save us. And so I think it's really important that we gather and build that resilience for the change that's here when facing the climate crisis.
Today we've been in Colchester at First Sight, which is amazing, delivering a workshop trying to help the community to come together around what kinds of action they can take locally to improve energy resilience really, and to make sure that their community has got what it needs in the face of the changing climate.
Connecting people together is a really important starting point, and hopefully we can take something forward and build something.
Just starting that conversation is the really important thing. Starting that conversation in a pub, at a parish meeting or something like that, just to get it out in the open.
That's what we're all about. It's community climate action happening right now today.
I'm Essex's Climate Czar. I'm also Cabinet Member for Environment, Reuse and Recycling.
One of the things that we do and we find very important is bringing people together from communities to have a conversation and to start thinking about what their green energy future will look like.
I'm really motivated by trying to get more people involved and trying to sort of get the issues around climate change and community energy sort of back out to the community.
The idea is that we can share all of this expertise, that they can talk to each other, and they will be able to gain a lot of knowledge very quickly.
So when I got here this morning, I didn't feel where we were going with this or where I was going with this, but I do feel that more so now. I feel actually quite focused, and I feel like I'm going to leave here with something tangible.
I think I've got some ideas for going forward. I was also very reassured to learn that in order to be someone who starts the conversation, you don't have to have all the answers.
And that's exactly what's happened today. It's been a really good meeting of some minds, a bunch of passionate people who want to make a difference.
You can really feel the energy, talking about energy. Yeah, it's really exciting. So if this is something that would work really well in your community, then please do reach out to us at Essex County Council. We'll start to organize something like this with you for your community, because we think it's very important to hear the voices of the people that live in your area and how we can shape the green energy future in Essex.
So there we go. That's an example of the kind of workshops that we're delivering. So there'll be lots of planning on the day, lots of build up to it, lots of learning by doing, quite a bit of mapping. And Donna, the clerk of Stanway that you've seen there, is now one of our sort of champions and advocates, and has facilitated conversations with Sainsbury's, with Tarmac, and with Persimmon, who are popping up a 600 home development in their area. So we're really keen to understand how we power all of these new homes that are springing up around Essex, and how we make sure that while we're doing that, we improve biodiversity and also secure our food supplies. So one of the things we'll also do throughout this program is look at how we fund this activity, both in terms of the at-risk money, the grant funding available, how we start, how we seed stuff, but also then the capital that's available. And as part of that, I did a Funding Our Future session for the Society for Local Council Clerks at their Are You Prepared for Net Zero Summit in 2024. And the kind of avenues to funding that we can expect are maybe National Lottery, Awards for All. As Rachel knows, she's successfully got an award for this kind of activity. District or county council. There's grant funding available from the Community Energy Fund. I've successfully raised money via the government's Community Ownership Fund for our Community Benefit Society in Suffolk, which I'll talk about a little bit. There's voluntary community sector support from things like the Resilience Fund for community buildings. And then when we look at more innovative models for larger scale funding, there's things like community municipal investment bonds, self-invested personal pensions or self-administered schemes, where we can actually move some of our pension money and choose what we invest in. For those more innovative parish councils, we have the ability to borrow money for infrastructure development under Public Works Loan Board borrowing. And as we cluster, we can create quite a lot of development capital that we can fund projects and kind of rinse and repeat. There's precedent for that. Our local council in Suffolk, Elmswell, did it to fund their social housing and also to buy their local pub. And who doesn't enjoy a good community pub. We bought ours, and that was what the community ownership fund money was for. There's also lots of patient capital out there. So when we start to look at projects and how to fund them, we'll probably be looking at blended finance. And so we've got myself and other experts on call for you to ask questions about that. And much of the beauty of what we do in terms of community benefit societies, and community energy is often owned by a community benefit society, raising money via community shares as well, is the surplus from that goes to community benefit. And we're hoping to, from our project, to generate about £130,000 a year in community benefit. And so the conversations we're having with our community is going to be where will we spend that money? Rather than going shareholder primacy and in the pockets of shareholders and often overseas paying no tax, it will go straight back to the benefit of the community. So the kind of things we're thinking about are nature-based recovery and investing in our local Little Lewes Headwaters project, who manage a bunch of fenland with Suffolk Wildlife Trust, a portion going back to support community climate action and other people's projects, that kind of thing. And as you can see on there, and if you're a parish councillor, you'll often have conversations about traffic calming and speeding, and potholes. So, if we want to fix the potholes, we've got to talk to our farming community really about the flooding. But the community benefit can go to help fund our parish councils and provide a little bit of a stipend for things like VAR, speed signs and traffic calming and this kind of thing. So a bit about our theory of change. So what makes a community? Well, that's our town and parish council. It's probably our sports club, and I play rugby, so I'm doing it with my local rugby club. You'll be pleased to hear that Aylesbury Rugby Football Club have already expressed an interest, and their pitch is in Western Turville. So we're going to be having a conversation about doing an energy audit and getting the rugby club on board. Also our schools, our faith groups, our churches, and these kind of institutions, including pubs, and People Planet Pint was mentioned earlier. And the thing about all of these organisations, our anchor institutions in our community, is they have an audience. So we have audiences to reach to build our capacity for community climate action. And you'll see this bell curve on the screen. It's called the diffusion of innovation. And as a product development director in the private sector, we use this whenever we're launching a new product. The iPhone will have used it. Every new product launch pretty much uses the diffusion of innovation. And we're the innovators. We're the 2.5%. We're the fire starters. We're the people who start something. We're the 2.5%. So we don't need everybody right now. We just need a bunch of committed people like we have in this room. And I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about this, and she said, well, I'm she's a practicing Catholic. She's in a Catholic church, and she was asking me how she could start something because she felt she was the only one. So I said, find the others, and there will be others because we know that 60% of people want to take action, and you only need 2.5%. And so I said, well, what's the congregation? And she said, well, it's about 100 people. So ask if you can set up a sustainability group in the organization, the anchor institution where you are, and find 1.5 other people, 2 other people. I'm sure they're there. And I'm sure you'll get a yes, because the Pope's definitely on board. And so there we go. Suddenly we've got some innovators. And then the early adopters will follow and join. And then you have momentum, you have a tipping point, you have a mandate for action, and you can go do. We don't need to wait for permission here. And the early majority follow the early adopters, and the late majority follow them. And the laggards, we don't need to worry about them. They're the climate deniers that we probably won't ever reach. But what we really need right now is that 2.5%, the innovators and the early adopters. And as town and parish councils, I'm really delighted that we've got support from for parish councils. And welcome to Bearton. I know you didn't necessarily contribute financially on this occasion, and great that you're coming, and it's great that you're joining in, because that's what's most important and might be able to contribute moving forward. As parish councils, we can do a lot. We have powers for provisional of allotments for food resilience. We have a statutory biodiversity duty. You know, part of this process will be auditing and learning how we measure and increase and improve our biodiversity. Emergency planning, which should integrate with our community, with our Resilience Forum's community risk register, because our Resilience Forum are made up of our first responders, our police, our fire brigade, and our paramedics. And you know what? We don't want them busy rescuing people from floods, treating excess heat, or rescuing people from, or putting out wildfires and what have you. We want them doing their jobs. So we need to plan for our emergencies, funding and finance, and can support and facilitate community energy. This is a quote from the Norfolk Association of Local Councils. So an organisation we hope to get on board is Buckinghamshire ALC. I think it's Bucks and Milton Keynes Association of Local Councils. And also there's the Local Society for Local Council Clerks. So part of this process will be running through what we can do as a group to reach out to these organisations. But what Professor Tim O'Riordan said, and he's chair of the Norfolk Association of Local Councils, there's real scope for Norfolk ALC to explore the lessons being learned by community climate action in forms of management, financing, recruitment, and widespread improvement of local livelihoods. And this should be connected to county-based devolution at an early stage. And part of community climate action is a group called the Great Collaboration, which is council and community climate action, and we're supported in our activity by the SLCC and the National Association of Local Councils. So climate change plus growth is an existential threat to our economy, our environment, our security, our happiness, and our way of life. And we can choose to tackle this problem, or we can choose to ignore it. And I'm betting that you're all in this room because you think the first approach is preferable to the second. And if you're reading the quote, I got them the other way around. But that was a quote from James Bevan, Chief Executive of the Environment Agency in 2019, which is one of my favourite quotes. So I would encourage you to walk with the dreamers, the believers, the courageous, the cheerful, the planners, the doers, and the successful people with their head in the clouds, but their feet on the ground. And let their spirit ignite a fire within you to leave this world a better place than when you found it. And so that's an introduction to community climate action planning. We've produced an Eventbrite. We've obviously set up a series of Zooms. We will also do a Facebook event for people to share and invite on Facebook. As I said, we've already set up the Eventbrite page. We're in the process of designing your posters and flyers for distribution. Posters can go up anywhere, community venues, pubs, shops, village halls, this kind of thing. Flyers, we may distribute on a door drop basis, but we'll see how we're booked in terms of capacity. We may be so successful that we might need a wait list, because we're probably expecting about 60 odd people. That would be really successful. And I think we've already got about 20 booked on. And these are some of our partners, content partners, industry partners, and we're working with all our Association of Local Councils throughout East Anglia. And I think probably connecting us is maybe Beds, Hertfordshire and Beds, maybe. So we're having some conversation with Herts, and it would be great to connect the dots and get us all grouped into clusters. Our Community Benefits Society in Suffolk have bought 10 acres of land for conservation and restoration. And that's Dave, who's a forest school teacher and barman. We've cleared a lot of rubbish. We've got some rigs for growing. We bought our community pub. We're renovating and retrofitting it, and it's going to be a power station. So it's going to generate excess energy. We're installing what's called Wallopini with local farmers, and Wallopinis are greenhouses recessed 4 foot into the ground, which provides thermal mass. So we can actually cultivate things like citrus fruit, oranges year round. And these are some of our stakeholders, and we'll go through a process of mapping out your stakeholders. And the outcome of that is, as I say, we've grown from 3 to 6 to 9 to 10 parishes. We meet quarterly, and we have active volunteer working groups on all of our 5 themes. And the chap in the red t-shirt is Andrew, and he's chair of Green Hinderclay and a parish councillor. We've got Andy Warnes, who's chair of Redgrave Parish Council, and representation from a bunch of other villages. And I'm taking the picture, and I'm from Hopton Parish Council. So there we go. I'll stop the presentation because I know I've talked a lot. But I hope that gives you a flavour for the journey that we're just kind of embarking on. And we've got about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to pause and open the floor to questions. So Francis first, then.
Can I just ask that, because it went very, very quickly, but the financing, because that's going to be really, really the most, well, not the most important, obviously, but how did you buy that pub? How did you buy the money to do the power station and everything else? You said there was, what did you do to get the money?
So we've got a Glock, and we take out a mask with a balaclava. And we first of all, for the 10 acres of land, that was a friends and family network fundraise. That was our community fundraise. So that was via community shares. And the first thing we did was bought 10 acres of land as a community benefit society. After we'd been digging potatoes one day, I was desperate for a pint, and I suggested that we go to the local pub, the White Horse, which was my local as a boy. And having had 5 years up in Newcastle pre-pandemic, I kind of came back after the pandemic, and I discovered it was shut, and it had been shut throughout the pandemic. So I turned to the people in the car and said, well, should we buy it? And that started a labour of love of 3 years, and I learnt an awful lot about assets of community value. So one of the most exciting bits of legislation going through Parliament at the moment is a community right to buy. We had a community right to bid, but that I hope is changing to a community right to buy, where your community will have the right to buy community assets. Yes, and is it Joy has just put the Plunkett Foundation. They really supported us on our journey, and we bought the pub with a combination of grant funding from the government, from their community ownership fund, and community shares. We've also benefited from grants from the National Lottery, from Power to Change, from Breckland District Council, they're greening their communities fund. Suffolk County Council have a match fund of 10,000 that we're hoping to apply to some of the retrofitting. And the community ownership fund is closed now, but I expect the government to replace it at some stage. And so it was a mixture of community shares and government's community ownership fund. And then for the renovation and renewable energy installation, that will probably come from a thing called the Resilience Fund. And we're just going through the process of applying. We're also doing the same with our rugby club. And they give you a £2,500 grant for an energy audit. Further to that, if you want to proceed with the installation, heat pump and suitable renewable energy, you can get 40% grant and a 60% friendly loan, which is fabulous. So it kind of washes its own face and pays for itself. So that's some of the examples of funding. And you're quite right, Francis. Show me the money. Where does the money come from is one of the key elements, both in terms of the at-risk money. And the at-risk money is things like a feasibility study for community renewable energy, because the outcome of that might not be feasible. So that money's at risk. Or planning, a planning application. You might not get planning. So again, that's called at-risk money. And that's generally through grant funding. So that would, particularly for renewable energy projects, that would come from the government. It was the Community Energy Fund. It's just been rebranded as GB. I forget the acronym now. It's GB, Great British Energy Community Fund, GBE CF. Yeah, so we can walk, once we've done some of this planning together, and we've we've done some learning by doing. We've kind of maybe identified some sites. We can help support, walk you through those processes of the actual applications.
Yeah, no, I mean that is, I mean, it's absolutely, because I mean, I love the idea of, you know, getting the money back into the community and doing, particularly, you know, for us, you know, traffic calming, VAR, I mean, all that, those things which we are desperate to do, we have no money to do it, would be amazing.
Yeah, and it will hopefully create a virtuous cycle, a virtuous circle, owning some productive means of production in terms of food, energy, potentially housing, where our parish council is looking at a regenerative settlement with some social housing in perpetuity, and about 15 acres for biodiversity, and that kind of thing. But yes, it's rather painful to have to buy a VAR system, traffic calming system, that costs, I don't know, £6,000 from reserves. So wouldn't it be marvelous if our climate action
Really,
fund?
really would. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really would. No, no, I mean, that is really, really exciting. Which is great because it also gives me ideas of who else we can invite in this area. And I'm sure Justine and we've got lots of people from Wendover on this call, but there are people like the shed people, Bob Duggan. I'm
Oh,
sure
yes.
he would love to be involved.
Yeah.
And the Scouts group and the cricket group. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Fabulous.
are we who's responsible in Wendover, by the way, for inviting these people, Rachel?
We've got Anna, who's on the call now, who's our communications. But we can liaise together with our climate action group in Wendover, can't we? Who's going to connect? I meant to say who knows, who has a contact in the cricket ground. So
Justine will know everybody. I know she will.
yeah, between us, we should be a good cover. Yeah, just a
Yeah.
quick apology at talking too much at the beginning, by the way. I thought there were just 4 of us on the call, Jules. I could only see 4 faces, and then it was rather delightful to suddenly see we've actually got 23 because 2 of our screens have doubled up.
Right, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And Francis, you're quite right. So part of this activity right now kicking off is who's not here. You know, who
Yeah.
can we get in the room? And you
Yeah.
mentioned the Scouts and the Cricket Club. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got a comprehensive marketing and outreach plan, which we'll share with everyone. If Rachel and Anna will probably be the go-to points of contact.
Right. Good. Thank you.
And then equally, what we're hoping is a nominated point of contact probably in each of the other parishes. And it's things like the Department for Education recommend that that every school has a climate action plan by the end of this year. So there will be a sustainability lead, and we'll be aiming to support the teachers because they're busy. They're, you know, very little budget capacity, that kind of thing, to embark on this activity. And we're looking at the outcome of our workshop in Malden, was for Plume Academy, and they've got huge solar potential, and we can likely save them enough money to afford another teacher. That, you know, that kind of thing. So it
Wow.
becomes a virtuous circle.
Yeah.
Bill Bowman, who's chair of World Rugby, has just written a sustainability report, state of the game in a 2-degree world, and it's not pretty, you know. So it's a kind of a value proposition. If we love the game, if we love our sport, if we love the game of rugby, you know, we need to get on the pitch and tackle climate change. And similarly with tennis and cricket, it's you know, we're at risk of being able to exercise and lose those things we love because it's too hot. It's not safe to play in the heat. So yeah.
Thank you for
and
answering
I'm
my
sure
question.
the
Thank you,
Scouts-
Jules. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions?
Jules, I wonder if you could just sketch out what the content of the other Zooms is going to be in the run-up to the workshop.
Yeah, sure. So what I'd like you to start thinking about now is what you value. What's your particular interest, how you might contribute or not. I mean, it's okay just to be here, listen and learn. That's okay. Please keep coming. We're not asking for huge amounts of capacity, but as individuals, we all have networks. You know, who can I influence and how? Who can I chat to down the pub? Who can I chat to when I'm playing rugby? Who can I get on this call next time? What projects would you like to do? I mean, I think we've got a real powerful, amazing group of people in this room. So, you know, biodiversity, Ian mentioned a few wildlife groups. Joy mentioned food and food security. So to expand on those kind of themes, again, it's good to think who's not here. So let's take food as an example. We're going to be mapping things out and mapping stakeholders so we can start on that kind of activity. So for the next Zoom, we'll probably start, or perhaps everybody could turn up with an idea for a project, or I've just made one phone call. You know, I've talked to the school, I met this teacher, or and that kind of thing. And so we can compare notes. In the meantime, we will share things like the marketing and outreach plan, and this kind of thing. I hope that answers your question, David. Grand. And Joy, you've got your hand up.
Yes. So how do you stop sort of climate anxiety and paralysis? Because one thing I found when I was working in Oxford was that particularly with the slightly younger demographic, sometimes they would feel so completely overwhelmed at meetings when talking about sort of certain topics that almost it completely froze them. And then they just were in a place where they kind of couldn't move forward. And a few of the people left our group really due to mental health issues because they kind of found it so overwhelming. So I guess my question is, how do we keep ourselves kind of focused and moving forward and not get kind of caught up in this anxiety and paralysis?
It's a very good question. And you know, it's really easy to suffer from nihilism or apathy, or just bury our head in the sand because it's too scary to think about. And a lot of parents do that, I think, you know. It's just way too scary. Now, so climate change is up here. It's massive, worldwide, global problem. So we really need to bring it down to what we can do. And I can only touch this much. So, but we can't have a million without one. So what we all do, what each of us do right now really matters. And there's a thing called a risorgimento, which is an idea that transcends generations. And Garibaldi, who was a freedom fighter in Italy, knew he would never see a united Italy, but that didn't stop him fighting all his life for it. And eventually there was a united Italy. And a risorgimento is like when somebody starts to build a cathedral in the knowledge they will never see it completed, and it might be their grandson that completes it. And that climate grief and climate anxiety is really difficult. So hopefully this process is what empowers us, gives us agency to act, and small achievable goals. And that's very much what we do when we engage with students and with our schools and with their respective eco councils, is really ask and encourage participatory processes and deliberative democracy. So we ask the eco council, what would you like to do? And then really support them on their journey and empower them to act, because most of our students and kids, like you say, are absolutely terrified, but equally believe it's the adults' job, and it's the adults in the room that should be sorting this out. You know, what can I do? And I have no agency to act, and I don't have the power to act. So this process is explicitly designed to be participatory and to empower people. We have had some conversations with Mind, the mental health charity, about perhaps joining in with us in terms of providing a support service as well, and Active Hope, practicing Active Hope in their mental health cafes. So that's something we might build on. It might be a project that someone in this room might like to start and take forward in your community. So does that answer your question, Joy? Cool. So we've got Julie and Robert. I'm not sure who was first, so we'll go with Julie first.
Hi, I just wanted to say I really like the kind of almost feels like a tentacle approach where you're kind of reaching out from people in here to go sort of further afield, but also be mindful that there is kind of stuff happening and how do we join these dots. So schools is one thing that I'm obviously kind of passionately involved with, and Buckinghamshire is actually significantly behind other counties on this, and schools are also not particularly aware of the DfE climate change and sustainability strategy and the initiatives that are linked with that. But we've just started to get that going in with the local authority. So I'm pushing that. So that is one thing that's quite encouraging, because I think now this climate community action is a kind of another pronged attack really on doing this. And I'm really sorry to use military language. That's also not very nice, but I can't think of anything else to do that. So what sometimes concerns me is too many people trying in their little areas rather than kind of joining up or building upon what's already being done. So I'm interested to see how this pans out. I was also interested in your link with Kat as a finishing off my dissertation student there at the moment. And if that influence.
So I don't particularly have a relationship with Kat, but I did do a workshop there over a weekend at the invitation of a marvellous group called Retrofit Balsall Heath Hoops and Civic Square, who do a Retrofit Reimagined festival that tours the country, which is fantastic. But it's a really good point, Julie. I mean, there is already marvellous activity. I mean, this is one of the reasons I'm really excited about working with Wendover and villages, because you've got Climate Action Wendover, Climate Action Western Turville. Julie, you're doing stuff with schools. Sounds like Ian's already working with some nature-based recovery groups. Oh, bear with me a moment. Sorry, I just had a call coming in, and and Liz and others with food and what have you. So part of the process we'll be mapping stakeholders, we'll be mapping the activity, and I guess to some degree it's to connect the dots, and it's to bring those people together and see how we might support activity, and also build out capacity through the process to increase the amount of volunteers and the amount of interest in the community. If anyone's involved in climate action, and I'm sure many of you are already, one of the hardest things is it's the same people doing it, and so how do we broaden it? How do we get more people? So yeah, look forward to hearing the marvelous stories and connecting the dots there, Julie. Robert.
Yeah, hi, thanks. It was kind of building on that, on the sense that there are already lots of things going on, and you don't want to come in and feel like we're saying we've got the solution, and what's going on already is sort of trampled on a little bit. And then also I wonder how you arrive at 60 people, because it doesn't seem that many to represent, in this case, 4 communities. I guess there's perhaps a limit to, what's practicable on the day. And is there a sense that it matters or not whether those people are representative as well of, all, as many as possible of the voices in the community?
The 60 people is just it's what's comfortable in terms of a workshop and the venue capacity. It's not an upper limit in terms of the amount of people we want involved. And actually this is just the start of a journey, not the end of a journey. We will be widely publicising it, and if we are lucky enough to have a lot of people beyond that interested, then we'll have another workshop, and another one, and or we'll do it on the rugby pitch and have a stadium. So the more the merrier. It's not an upper limit. That's just really venue capacity. It's a mandate for action, and it's to start something. So first of all, it's a democratic process in that the representatives of the communities in terms of parish councils have voted to support this activity and start this activity. So that's democracy in action. Parish councils are open forums. We hope to promote this via parish newsletters and on notice boards. So again, it's really important that it's participatory, and those that want to join in can. But you're quite right. 60 out of 60 out of 7.5 odd thousand is 1%, less than 1%. So yeah, but we hope to grow. So any other questions? Liz?
Yes, just one quick point. You were talking about finance. I was just wondering, you may have already gone through this, whether you asked industry at all for any finance, either the energy industry, or I work in the insurance industry in London for one of the biggest brokers there are. I just wondered if there was any input from any of that size. I know insurance particularly always want to make themselves look very good. It's just I wondered if that had been discussed at all. Or...
Not yet. I have had some tentative conversations with a large insurance company, also with our highways department, in relation to 6 inches of soil and improving and regenerative agriculture. Because the odd and our utility company, our water company, because the onward benefit of reducing flooding by improving our soil quality in terms of water retention has significant value to insurance companies, highways departments, and our utilities company. So I've had some commercial conversations on that basis. Have yet to actually get any sponsorship, but there's time.
Okay, well, it might be something I could perhaps just look into. Just to see. I know where I work, we've got lots of charities and things that we support.
Okay.
I'll just have a look around. You never know.
Where do you work, Liz?
I work for Howdens at the moment. Where
okay, cool.
Right. The insurance broker, but it's
yeah.
part of the London market, so it's
absolutely.
Big
yeah, I think Howdens were criticised by an activist group recently because they started underwriting some oil and gas, so they might be well in the market for some better PR.
Yes.
And it was actually Howdens I spoke to about the expression of interest for the Innovate UK bid for the farming.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there we go. So here's a project, an outcome of today.
Yeah.
Let's do that between us then.
Okay.
Great. Rachel.
I was just thinking of tarmac you had mentioned. That's
yes.
industry, isn't it? That you've got on board in Essex. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So I wasn't actually at the meeting, but the community group, the clerk of Stanway Parish Council, Donna, and Colchester Community Energy have both met following our workshop with Tarmac, and they're looking at a couple of old quarries and or landfills. Tarmac are the UK's 5th largest landowner, according to Tarmac. So I am going to be getting on the phone to Tarmac's representative in Essex and asking who his opposite number is in Buckinghamshire, and let's see if we can get them along. And I know Rachel's already spoken to Taylor Wimpey, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he said he might come tonight. Well, yes, their rep. I mean, he hasn't, but he's on. He's signed up for the workshop.
Great, and we're having similar conversations with Persimmon in Essex. So again, I'm sure Persimmon will be active in Buckinghamshire. So we can start to ask these questions. And yeah, Liz, I mean, let's maybe get some sponsorship. These are very large corporations. Persimmon, I think, are the largest housing developer, and they turn over about 3 billion. So yes, let's have these conversations. That's brilliant suggestion. So we're 8:10, so I think we'll probably draw it to a close now. I'm going to be on for another five minutes or so, or maybe longer, if people want to chat and talk more informally about stuff. But does anyone have any burning questions right now? No? Okay. Well, we'll be following up, as I said, with David, with some further instructions about how you can get involved, participate, and really just I hope you enjoyed today. Or I know it was a lot of information downloaded quickly, but I hope it was gave you a flavour for what we're embarking on. Rachel.
Will the other 2 Zooms be the same link? Just on
Yes,
the
they will.
question.
Yes.
Thank you. So we've all got that.
Yeah.
And you can just book again if you can't find the email, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. Please do just click the register and you'll get a reminder link. I think it's the same, but I'd encourage you to register so we know who's coming to each call.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. Fabulous. Well, thank you everyone for coming. And I really look forward to this journey with you and to meeting you all in person.
Thank you. Okay, thanks then.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye, everyone.
Jules, and Rachel, actually, if I can ask, I mean, I'd love to come along in October, but I don't want to take a place of a local person, which is why I haven't booked onto it as yet.
Yeah.